Guys, no intro video today. I ain't gonna bother. I don't even care about having my train rolling through like I normally do, because this is just an absolute embarrassment. My goodness, the Mets are just the absolute laughingstock of Major League Baseball right now. An absolutely hideous game from the Mets today as they drop another to the Pittsburgh Pirates, the lowly third worst team in Major League Baseball. Pittsburgh Pirates, the least amount of runs scored this season, the least amount of home runs, the lowest slugging percentage in baseball. Pittsburgh Pirates have now put up 9 runs against the Mets in each of the first 2 games of this series. This is beyond rock bottom. I said that last week during the stretch against the Phillies and against the Braves, but it just keeps getting worse. I can't believe it. It is unbelievable what a 180 this team has taken from being arguably the best in all of the sport to looking the way they have over the last 2 weeks. Yikes is right, explosive diarrhea. Holy crap. The New York Mets suck right now. This is embarrassing. Just a horrible game from the Mets once again. And we shouldn't be surprised at this point. I don't even know why I get worked up, because this has been what they've been for the last 16, 17 days, or whatever it has been since that Tampa Bay series. The Mets are outclassed by one of the worst teams in the league. 9-1, 9-2, yes, 9-1 today, yesterday, 9-2 today, it doesn't matter. 9 freaking runs to the Pirates. This is unacceptable from the New York Mets right now. I am so just ready to vomit about this team. I cannot believe how bad it continues to get. Let's go through it, guys. I'm Tony Metro. If you're new to the channel, I do a daily Mets recap after every single Mets game. We do daily content. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already. Leave this video a like. Really appreciate that. It goes a long way toward helping out the channel. If you guys want to vent like I'm about to right now, you could join the show live. Go to my Discord. Link is in the channel. Phone lines are open if you want to call in and vent about this horrible New York Mets team right now. Absolutely embarrassing. Like I said, unacceptable to lose 2 games to the Pirates, but never mind that. To give up 9 runs in each of the first 2 is just, I can't even put words to describe it. This game was so freaking ugly. Let's talk about it. Mets start with a 1-0 lead. They go into the rain delay. It's an hour and a half. And when they have that rain delay, it's first and second with 2 outs, and Mark Vientos up at the plate. And in my head, the whole hour and a half, 90-minute rain delay, all I'm thinking is Mark Vientos isn't going to get a hit. I think he's going to actually strike out. And he not only strikes out, he strikes out on 3 freaking pitches. And then from there, the Mets actually send Paul Blackburn back to the mound. The Pirates are smart enough not to send Bailey Falter, their starter, back out to the mound, but the Mets are not wise enough to get a reliever, someone else, to pitch in place of Blackburn after resuming from an hour and a half rain delay. And what does Paul Blackburn do? 5 straight singles to open the second inning. Could you imagine if the Mets could get 5 straight hits? Could you imagine what this team might be able to do if this lineup that we're paying $200-something million could string together hits the way the Pirates have for the first 2 games of this series? Well, then again, I guess they're not pitching guys like Paul Blackburn like we are. So maybe that's the problem for the Mets. 5 straight singles. Pirates go up 3-1. Buto able to put the fire out, gives up the sac fly, but gets 2 more outs after that. Mets make it 3-2 on a Nimmo single, but that wasn't it. That wasn't the whole story. Of course, Mark Vientos coming up in a big spot. Should have been ball 4 on a 3-0 pitch. Home plate umpire inexplicably calls a strike. He ends up grounding out to end that inning, or lining out. Mendoza gets tossed the very next half inning, as he should, because it was a horrible call. Then you have the play with Brett Beatty trying to take third on that one. honestly not the worst call from Beatty. Obviously, you never want to run on a ball in front of you from second base, but the play was in front where the third baseman, Cabrian Hayes, had to charge it. But God hates the Mets because he bobbles it. One of the most sure-handed third basemen in all of baseball bobbles it, and it perfectly falls into the lap of Met killer Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who dives and tags Beatty at third base to erase a leadoff double when the Mets were trailing 3-1. You just can't make this stuff up. It is just, the universe is crapping on the Mets right now, and the Mets are not helping their own cause with some of these just head-scratching decisions, like sending Paul Blackburn back out to begin the second inning after a 90-minute rain delay. What the actual F is wrong with this team right now? From top to bottom, from GM David Stern sitting in his ivory tower from Harvard, putting up absolute scrubs onto this team. We got to see another one today in Colin Poach that couldn't even get the final 2 outs after Huascar Brazaban threw up all over himself once again because he's been overworked, because Stearns won't bring in a legitimate reliever to help this pen, won't bring in a starting pitcher that can actually give you any length. Oh my goodness, this is like nothing I've seen before, guys. I mean, for a team with the expectations, the way they were playing the first 2 months of the season, this is just beyond anything I've ever seen. Let's go to the chat real quick. Explosive Diarrhea, pitching, bullpen, offense, all dookie. That's fitting coming from you, Explosive Diarrhea. Absol, nice try, Mendoza. Pretending to care by getting thrown out of the game. Pirates hung up 18 runs versus your 3. Get your team in line or you'll be looking for a job. 18-3. The Pirates have outscored the Mets in these first 2 games. In fact, guess what? The Pirates have won 3 games to the Mets 2 games in the head-to-head series so far here in 2025. Does that sound like a World Series team to you? I don't think so. Embarrassing. Ray, it's a long stretch of trash baseball, and Stearns does nothing. No swag in Swaggy V. Terrible at-bats from Mark Vientos since he returned yesterday from the injured list. 0-4 yesterday, 0-5 today. He reached base there with 2 outs in the 9th. That should go down as an error. Definitely should not be a hit for him. Just absolutely horrible at-bats from Vientos, especially the one resuming play in the top of the second inning after the rain delay. 3-pitch strikeout with 2 men on base. Was there anything more predictable than that? Was there anything more predictable than Mark Vientos striking out, resuming play after that rain delay? Just another reason, another thing that when I'm telling you that God hates the Mets, why? Why did they even do the rain delay in the middle of a Mets rally when it wasn't even raining hard? Why? And then Vientos has to come back, resume his at-bat, goes down on 3 pitches, and Blackburn goes back out there, gives up 5 straight hits. Just, oh my God, you can't write this stuff, guys. It's insane. Ray, Blackburn is trash. Expected anything less? No, but a little, I don't know what I expected, but not this. The kill me. Vientos is garbage. Taylor is garbage. Terrence is garbage. The whole bottom of the lineup is garbage. At least Brett Beatty had a double today. Then he has that brain fart on the bases. I don't even completely blame him. It was just horrible freaking luck. The same type of luck that has just been snake biting the Mets for the last 3 weeks. It's just, I don't get it anymore. Ray, God helps those who help themselves, Tony. Well said. And I hope to anybody that thinks I'm mocking, any type of religion or God, or that's not the case. It's all just me joking around here, but there's something. The universe is at work against the Mets right now. It really freaking feels that way. Logged Off Gaming, heads will roll Monday. How about Eric Chavez? That sounds like a good plan to me. I agree with you. The Mets didn't get a freaking hit after the 5th inning in this game. And this is acceptable after 1 run yesterday. The Mets don't get another hit from the 5th inning on in this game. They go 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They leave 8 men on base in this one. Eric Chavez should be out the door now. This is a freaking joke from this team. We thought it was bad with the Phillies, the Braves, Tampa Bay. Those are all at least playoff contenders. Now we're getting our asses beat by the third worst team in baseball in the Pittsburgh freaking Pirates. The worst offense, the least amount of homers, the least amount of runs scored, the lowest slugging percentage, and they just hung 18 freaking runs on us in 2 games. Unbelievable. Stanley Babbage, you don't bring back your starting pitcher after a rain delay. Yeah, we all knew that. Why didn't Carlos Mendoza? Obviously, Mendoza's thinking is, well, we haven't gotten linked from any of our other starters. Not a single time in the past 10 games has a Mets starter went past the 5th inning. So he was trying to just steal 1, maybe 2. But even in the booth, Gary and Ronnie Darling talking about it, saying, this is not a good idea. Perfect example last night. The Braves tried to send Bryce Elder back out after their rain delay down in Atlanta. How'd that work out? The Phillies hung 11 on them. Almost exact same situation that happened here to the Mets today with Blackburn, who fails to record an out in the 2nd inning. His final line, 1 inning pitched plus, 3 earned runs on 6 hits. 5 straight freaking hits to open the 2nd inning. Again, imagine if this Mets lineup that is due, about $200 million of this $300+ million payroll. Imagine if the Mets lineup could string together hits the way the Pirates have against the Mets in these first 2 games. Oh, Logged Off Gaming, King Cohen, not happy. Yeah, he shouldn't be. Did he tweet something? Let me know. I want to see that and talk about it if that's the case. Earl Daly, between Vientos, Beatty, Alvarez, they have ruined their trade value. They were obviously trying to save the bullpen and get as much as they could from the starter. Shaking my head. Exactly. All those dudes' trade values completely in the ground right now. Beatty at least has been hitting a little bit. I give credit where it's due. Alvarez is in AAA and Vientos is 0 for 9 since returning yesterday from the injured list. Steve Sorensen, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Losing in person stinks. 2 runs is better than 1. That's right. You were at the game today, Steve. So sorry, man. Sorry you had to be there for that, for both a rain delay and then you stick through a 90-minute washout. And the Mets just get absolutely embarrassed. D-Rails, what is up, my man? What's up, Ray? Nobody listens. My guy, I told y'all trade Beatty. I've been saying trade Beatty since 2 years ago. The dude's a bust. Don Juancito, the Savannah Bananas have more fight than these mutts. Yeah, the Savannah Bananas are at least entertaining, too. The Mets are actual torture. I can't stand watching this team right now. I hate watching the Mets right now. I get a pit in my stomach an hour before every game, and then I have to come on here and just absolutely freak out because I just can't control the emotions about this team. I'm bleed orange and blue, man. I bleed orange and blue since '94. I can't help it. It just is how it is, and I wish I wasn't this way, but damn, this team sucks right now. I can't believe it, guys. I really can't. This is just embarrassing. Explosive Diarrhea, Ray, can't wait for the June swoon to end. Yeah, well, last year, June, they were the gay Mets. Remember? The gay Mets, Grimace throwing out the pitch, and they were electric, turned their season around. Well, this is not June 2024, I can tell you that much. We're not in Kansas anymore, I don't think. Fast, fun poker, Jamie. Does Mendoza gamble needlessly? Vientos, a 2-hitter, seemed ambitious. He's gambled Marte in the 2 spot, too. I mean, I think the reasoning behind putting Vientos in the 2 spot today was putting him in front of Juan Soto, hoping that Vientos would get some good pitches to hit. So I kind of understand the logic behind it, but you're taking Nimmo out of the 2 spot, and it's literally been a tale of 2 seasons. When Nimmo hits in the 2 hole, he's been electric. When he hits anywhere else, he's been horrible. Now, Nimmo has an RBI single in this game, so okay, but Vientos, it doesn't seem like anything is working for Mark Vientos. You could put him up there in any spot in the order, and Mark Vientos has just been horrible this year. Give him a little bit of a pass because he's just coming back from the IL stint, hasn't seen major league pitching in 3 weeks, but call a spade a spade. Vientos has been really bad this year. D-Rails, Ray, this team is garbage, no pride. Stanley Babbage, more Mendoza mishaps, then gets ejected. Yeah, and rightfully so, because that play, not that the Mets, I think, would have even won this game because they looked horrible and they didn't have a hit from the 5th inning on, but it was in that 5th inning where Mark Vientos takes a fastball on 3-0, clearly below the zone. And he gets called a strike. He ends up lining out to center or to up the middle to end the inning. It would have had first and second for Juan Soto coming up in what was then a 3-1 ball game. So Glad Mendoza went out there and got his money's worth, but it clearly didn't do anything to inspire this team because they went down sheepishly in the final 4 innings of this one, and it only just got worse. We're sitting at a 3-2 game for a couple of innings there, thinking, look, maybe we get a 9th inning round, maybe something happens in the 8th inning. We know our top of the order is going to get another crack in this one. You get a really good effort from Jose Butto out of the bullpen. Reed Garrett gave us a scoreless inning. Really solid work from Brandon Waddell. And then Huascar Brazoban comes in for the bottom of the 8th, and it's an absolute shit show. Brazoban goes just a third of an inning and gives up 4 earned runs on 2 hits and a walk before he is relieved for another one of the brilliant brainchilds of David Stearns, Colin Poach, who comes in and continues to just cough up RBI base hits, line drives to the lowly Pittsburgh Pirates. The Mets are absolutely embarrassing right now. I can't believe what has happened to this team. The killer me. What's up, D-Rels? How you doing, man? Let's see. The killer me, for some reason, people think last year was Vientos' coming out party, and you didn't think it was, or you thought it was a career season for him. He can't be a major leaguer. I mean, dude, I'm part of that party, man. I thought that Vientos really did have his coming out season in 2024, and he was going to be the third baseman of this team for the next 10 years. I really did, but it does not look that way. It did not look that way before last season. It does not look like that right now. And the Mets just put way too much faith and hope into all these young guys, Alvarez, Beatty, Acuna, Mauricio to a degree, and of course Vientos, and decided, we don't need to bring back Harrison Bader or Jose Iglesias or add someone like a Jurickson Profar, names like that. No, they were expecting at least 1 or 2 of those guys to take the next step forward, and all of them have taken massive steps backwards. This is a disaster. Guys, how are you feeling? Let me know in the chat. Scale of 1 to 10. Where's your anger level? Am I crazy? Am I the only angry one? Because me, I'm at a 10. I'm not even panicking now. Now I'm just angry. So I want to hear from you guys. Scale of 1 to 10. Where is your anger level at this team right now? I'm at a full-on 10. Mookie the dog can't even watch this team, I bet. No, Mookie has decided he's going to go sit in the other room when the Mets are on. He knows. He looks at the TV. I swear to God, he goes in the other room. He can't watch these games with me because he knows I'm just freaking out. Never at him. I love that dog, but I can't control my emotions with this team at all. Do the Mets need another team meeting, asks Stanley Babbage. Yeah, I would say so. I don't know if they're actually going to do it, but like, what do you say? What comes from a team meeting? At the end of the day, the lineup doesn't hit. They get 9 hits in this game. They don't cash in on anything. They ended up giving Vientos a hit on that one. It probably should have been an error because a good throw from Cabrian Hayes on that play with 2 outs in the 9th gets him at first base, but whatever. So the Mets get 10 hits and they score just 2 runs against the Pirates. You see the guys coming out of the Pirates bullpen? You see the earned run averages on these dudes? 1.48, 2.13. This should be a Mets bullpen. Shouldn't this be what the Mets are bringing out of their bullpen? A team with World Series aspirations instead of Brandon Waddell's, who pitched great today, so not a good example, but guys like Colin Poach and Chris Stavinsky's and all of those names, Blade Tidwell yesterday, coughing up a 3-run homer. This is a freaking joke, man. Team meeting, I don't give a crap about a team meeting. Start hitting the freaking ball. Start pitching better. Get your heads out of your ass. Stop running yourself off the bases. That's what I want to see. If that's what they say in the team meeting, great. Start doing it. What a freaking joke, man. I'm pissed off about this team. Logged Off Gaming, yeah, Mookie, Don Juancito, hoping the Phillies are just as bad this month and next. I mean, look, that's just complacency, and I'm with you, man. I hope the Phillies trip and throw up on themselves too, the way the Mets have, but if we're just going to hope other teams play down to our level, then who even cares? Do you think this team right now could actually beat the Dodgers in the NLCS or in a playoff matchup? I don't even think this Mets team right now could beat anybody. If they even could make the playoffs, I don't think this Mets team could beat any of the other NL playoff contenders at this moment right now. They can't even take care of the Pirates. 18 runs in 2 days. I mean, damn. Forget the World Series. What a freaking joke. Don Juancito and Mendoza's making some boneheaded moves too. I mean, dude is desperate. Dude is trying to make something happen. I mean, putting Blackburn back out there to begin the second, though, what a stupid choice. I don't care. You can't afford to lose this game after the way you were embarrassed yesterday. I mean, even in the first inning, when the Mets score their first run of this game, it's first and second. Starling Marte goes down swinging. You're thinking, man, after the way they got embarrassed on Friday night, wouldn't it have been nice to put up a 3 spot or 2 at least in the first inning? No. Starling Marte goes down swinging. Then in the top of the second, rain delay, first and second, you come back, Vientos strikes out on 3 pitches. And from there, man, in my head, I'm thinking they're not winning this game. And it didn't take much longer for me to be convinced, because that's when you bring Paul Blackburn back in after a 90-minute rain delay. In what world is that a good idea? Who freaking does that? I'll tell you who, the New York effing Mets. And that's why they got bitch slapped again by one of the worst teams in baseball. I am embarrassed for this team. You notice I'm not wearing my Mets jersey today? It's here on my chair because I don't want to be seen in orange and blue today. I am so pissed off at this freaking team and how they have performed. Just absolutely unacceptable, below standard. David Stearns, wake up. You don't want to see his season continue to get flushed down the toilet? Then get off of your ass and start making some phone calls. Find a legitimate reliever, find a legitimate starting third baseman, and find a starting pitcher, because this is not acceptable in any world. Jimmy James C, what's up, man? Thankfully, I was too busy to catch this game today. God bless your soul. You are so lucky you didn't have to sit through this shit show. What an absolute disaster of a game. An absolute disaster of a first 2 games of this series, as the Pirates, who we thought was going to be a soft landing spot, a nice weekend in Pittsburgh for the Mets to maybe go on a 5-game winning streak after taking the final 2 games of the series with the Braves. Not. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Oh, Ghost of Maidens Park, I only sell if they are under 500 by the end of July. The Mets are not going to be under 500 by July, but I don't even think then that they would sell. Maybe on someone like Jesse Winker, but or I guess Pete would probably be someone they could sell. Could you imagine if it gets that bad? Oh boy, guys, if it gets that bad that the Mets are under 500 by like the end of July around the trade deadline, I don't know if I can continue doing these streams, ladies and gentlemen. That might just be too much for Tony. I don't know if I can handle that. Let's see. D-Rel says, Ray, D-Rel Stearns' ass is on the hot seat. Tony, we're all effing pissed. Yep, we are. D-Rel's fans going to stop going to games. I mean, yeah, they showed out this past week for the series against the Braves, but I mean, dude, this is just even worse against the Pirates. I mean, the only reason they're going to have sellouts next weekend is because it's the 4th of July and because it's the Subway Series. Don't be surprised if Yankee fans outdo Mets fans at Citi Field next weekend for the second edition of the Subway Series. The way the Mets are playing, I don't want to be in that freaking building. I would not want to be there. That sounds like a waste of 3 hours and $300. I don't think so. I could find a lot of better things to spend $300 on, and I won't get as pissed as I am watching this Mets baseball team right now. Let's see. Ghost of Maidens Park. Hopefully Montas helps us tomorrow. Man, how far the Mets have fallen. We are placing our hopes in not getting swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates and Frankie Montas. Think about that for a second. Think about where the Mets were 3 weeks ago. 21 games over 500, 5.5 game lead in the National League East. And now we are hoping that Frankie Montas delivers a good start tomorrow so they can avoid being swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates and not fall even further out of first place. This is rock bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a great place. You like what I've done with it? Wow. My goodness. D-Rel, Steve Cohen's going to lose his fan base. He'll never lose his fan base because we're diehard Mets fans, but he might start losing some money at the box ticket office. That's for sure. If they don't turn it around soon, they ain't going to be selling out Citi Field the way they were the first 2 months of this year. Stanley Babbitt Stearns needs to answer his phone and make some trades. I've been screaming this from the rooftops for at least 3 weeks, probably a month now. The bullpen has been in disarray. They have lost people to injury. They have gotten bad performances from others. The two guys that used to be Mr. Reliable with Braziban and with Reed Garrett were overworked, and they've done nothing to help fix anything in the bullpen. The starting rotation has now had 3 injuries. They've lost Senga, they've lost McGill, and they have lost Griffin Canning for the entire season. Paul Blackburn has been a disaster. Sean Manaea has continued to have setbacks and yet to make his season debut. They have done nothing in that department. And the main culprit, pretty much from wire to wire, outside of a couple of performances and a couple of stretches here and there, is the freaking lineup. The freaking lineup that has guys like Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil, and $770 million man Juan Soto. And they can't score more than 2 runs in a game against the Pirates. I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. Fire Eric Chavez. You got to send a sign to this team that this is unacceptable. They need to find something to fix this. Okay, how about this? So, according to a tweet from SNY, I'm going to pull it up here. The New York Mets are holding a team meeting, a players-only meeting right now. How about that, guys? Let me share my screen with you. So you got, wow, that's a terrible frame for the video to pause on, but here we go. How about this, guys? The Mets are holding a players meeting in the clubhouse right now in Pittsburgh after losing the first 2 games of the series to the Pirates and after dropping 12 of their last 15 contests. So there you go. We were just talking about it a moment ago here in the stream. I don't remember who said it. I think it might have been Logged Off Gaming. Yeah, I think Logged Off Gaming was the one that suggested that they should possibly have another meeting this month. And how about that? Mets holding a players meeting in the clubhouse right now in Pittsburgh after losing. That was posted 6 minutes ago by SMY. So don't know. That is what turned the Mets season around last year, but no guarantee it'll happen again this season. I guess we'll see, but it's absolutely necessary. Anything at this point makes something happen because this has just been a horrible stretch of baseball for the Mets, and it only continues to get worse. Let's see. Logged Off Gaming. Mets are holding a team meeting as we... Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. I just saw that now. It's not looking at the chat. Jimmy James C. I was 5 years old as your son is now. The last time the Mets won a World Series. Please, God, give me at least 1 ring in my adulthood. Hey, man, at least you saw one. I haven't seen one. I'm 94, baby. So I saw them lose in the 2000 World Series, of course, and then 2015. I saw 2006 heartbreak. Oh my God, I just want one. I just want one for this team. I'm with you there, Jimmy James. Explosive diarrhea. Barnes will take Chavez's job, and he's no better. I think they both got to go. I'm sorry. I think they both have to go. Jeremy Barnes and Eric Chavez have got to go. Anybody that has any input into the hitting philosophy, the approach, the strategy for this lineup has got to be shown the door. They have got to go. This lineup should not struggle to score 3 runs every single night against the Pirates pitching staff, against the Rays pitch. I mean, it doesn't matter what team it is. It is a struggle. It is a tooth pulling, a tooth removal every freaking game trying to score more than 2 runs. And if a team meeting is going to do it, then great. But I don't believe that's the case. I think Eric Chavez, Jeremy Barnes need to go now. It's so long overdue by how long this offense has underperformed. And again, they get embarrassed. And you know what? Yeah, the Mets give up 9 runs in back-to-back games to the Pirates, and that is just absolutely horrific. But you know what? Maybe if it wasn't a 3-2 game in the 8th inning and the Mets actually could put up a crooked number the way the Pirates have done against the Mets in the past 2 days, the pitchers wouldn't be constantly in a pressure inning. So I think it is all just a vicious cycle. They all are just misfiring. They cannot get everything going at the same time if their lives depended on it. I am disgusted. Ray, let's see. Oh, you're talking to Explosive Diarrhea. I love that name. Explosive Diarrhea is the best name. I laugh every single time I see it. So if you're just tuning in, Mets are having a players meeting right now in the clubhouse. SMY just posted that about 9 minutes ago. So we'll see if things change, but the Mets at this moment have lost 12 of their last 15 games. Their offense has been lifeless. Their bullpen has been bad. The starting pitching has been bad. Literally everything about this Mets team is falling apart in front of our eyes. And David Stern's biggest way to try to fix it, call and poach. Anyone? Anyone? Anybody? No? Oh, okay. So David Stern should actually maybe, I don't know, try to find some other trades to improve this team. Maybe call up Nolan McLean to make a start instead of Paul Blackburn. We know none of the position players from the minor leagues can do anything because we've already seen Brett Beatty, Francisco Alvarez, Mark Vientos, Ronnie Mauricio, and Luis Angel Acuna all fail to becoming major league players. So maybe try something in the pitching department? I don't know. I am so down on the freaking Mets right now. I am just livid, beside myself. Let's see. Fast Fun Poker Jamie. I was 3 when they won. My dad took my Yankees fan cousins to Game 7. That's pretty sick. Ray says, Tony, they won't fire both. That's what sucks. I mean, they might. I don't even know. I thought Jeremy Barnes was like in the organization prior to Eric Chavez, but like, let's be honest, every year the Mets enter a season with a lineup that on paper we all expect to score a lot of runs, right? We all say, oh, well, the pitching might not have it, but the lineup, they're going to score a lot of runs. And every year is the same freaking thing. How can a team like the Pirates hit the way that they did these last 2 games against the Mets, and our lineup that has got to be probably a total of $200-something million cannot scratch across more than 2 runs against Pittsburgh? I just don't get it. But Jeremy Barnes, in my opinion, Eric Chavez, both need to be shown the door. Like I said before, anybody that is involved in the hitting philosophy, in the hitting, fundamentals, anything that has to do with the lineup has got to go. And if that's Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes exclusively, goodbye. See ya. Don't let the door hit you on the ass on your way out, because this is embarrassing. Let's see. D-Rails, when the door is bad, he is horrible. Yep, another really bad performance from Francisco Lindor. Let me pull up the box score so I can single out all the people that have really been pissing me off lately. Let's see. Lindor was 1 for 4 in this game and drew a walk, so better than what he did yesterday. 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Vientos is credited with a hit. That was not a freaking hit. That was an error. He should be 0 for 5 today, which would put him at 0 for 9 since returning from the IL yesterday. Soto strikes out 3 friggin' times today. He has an RBI hit though, and he's been red hot in June. I'm not getting on him, but that really sucks. Pete Alonso with 2 hits in this one, probably the best performance, along with Brandon Nimmo, who was 2 for 4 with an RBI single. Starling Marte had a hit and a walk. So the Mets weren't shut down completely, but it seemed every time they had an opportunity, it was either Beatty getting ran off the bases there on that ridiculous play. Tyrone Taylor had 2 balls that were scorched up the middle, perfectly positioned. Was the Pirates' second baseman or shortstop to field it with men on base and end those innings? It's just like, man, the Mets are not playing well, but it's like the universe is just at work to make sure that they cannot get back into a game. Like, this is just insanity. I just don't get it, man. Let's go talk about the pitching for a second here. We already touched on everything. The horrible decision to have freaking Paul Blackburn come back into this game. And again, guys, if you want to call in and you want to join the show live right now, I'm taking phone calls. Go to the link in the description below to Discord, and I will tune you in, and you could vent and sound off about the Mets and how horrible they have been playing lately. Again, go to the Discord link in the description below of this video. Taking live phone calls right now through the end of this stream. But my goodness, what a terrible decision by Carlos Mendoza. And I don't know if it was solely Mendoza or if it was the brain trust of the front office and the rest of his coaching staff that were deciding, hey, we got to try to get another inning or 2 out of Paul Blackburn. But it is a horrible decision as he gives up 5 hits in the second inning before even recording an out. He ends up getting pulled after that. They bring on Jose Butto. Butto actually did a really solid job in this one by getting them out of that bases loaded, no out jam, just the sac fly. So that wasn't terrible. If I could just get freaking MLB.com to cooperate, that would be awesome, but maybe not. All right, here we go. So Blackburn, as you can see here, final line of 1 inning pitched plus 6 hits, 3 earned runs, and then Butto came in, gave 2 really solid innings of work. Butto has quietly been really solid lately. Between him and between Deadnow Nunez, it looks like they're starting to round back into their 2024 form, which is excellent to see. Still, major issues in this bullpen, but it was looking like if the Mets could just find that one crooked inning in this game that they would win it, because you get 3 scoreless innings from Brandon Waddell, who has been excellent, and at this point, I don't think should be on the taxi squad anymore. I think should be in the Mets bullpen as a permanent mainstay until he proves otherwise, because he has been really solid so far. With no Jose Castillo anymore on this roster, I say give Brandon Waddell a spot in this bullpen until he proves to us that he's not capable. But so far, he's been excellent this year, 2.45 ERA. Reed Garrett came in. He has been shaky lately. It was a 3-2 game there in the 7th inning. He throws a hitless inning. He has his ERA at 2.25, but then Huascar Brazoban, a third of an inning, just 1 out. He gives up 2 hits. He walks 2 guys. He ends up getting charged with 4 earned runs. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. This guy's ERA at one point was around 0.9. It is now ballooned all the way up to 3.83. It has been a struggle for Brazoban. He's not throwing strikes, and I totally blame it on Brazoban, but I also blame it on the Mets having to use him as often as they have so far in the season, and that, in my opinion, falls on David Stearns for not bringing in adequate relievers to replace AJ Minter, Danny Young, and any of the other names that just simply have not gotten the job done. Brazoban continues to struggle. And then, like I said, Colin Poach, who was just brought up from AAA today. What an audition from Colin Poach. 2/3 of an inning, but not before giving up 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, a 12.54 ERA. Excellent. Excellent across the board. What did the Pirates do in this game? They had a crooked number in the 3rd inning with 3 runs. They don't do anything in the middle innings from the 3rd to the 7th. Like I said, great relief pitching from Butto, from Waddell, and from Reed Garrett. And then another big crooked inning for 6 runs in the 8th inning. Just absolutely unacceptable from this Mets team as they drop now their 12th in 15 games. If you're just tuning in, the Mets are hosting a players meeting right now, or may have just ended. Brandon Nimmo is interviewing right now with SNY, but the Mets were hosting a players meeting at the conclusion of this game as they dropped the first 2 with Pittsburgh. They get 9 runs put up against them by the Pirates in back-to-back games and have scored just a combined 3 runs themselves. Sound off in the chat, guys. How you feeling? I asked anybody earlier that was in here, what is your anger level? I'm not even going to say panic level anymore because I think panic level is already beyond a 10 for all of us. Anger level for me is at a 10. This is downright unacceptable from this team. Let's go to the chat. Stanley Babbage, do you fire Mendoza? No, I don't fire Mendoza. That's crazy. I don't think it's all Mendoza's fault. I'm sorry, this team doesn't have the talent. This is partly on Mendoza, but this is also more so, in my opinion, on David Stearns. I mean, what is he supposed to do when he was handed Jared Young to be his DH 3 days out of the week? What's he supposed to do when he has Colin Poach and Chris Stavinsky and Tyler Zuber coming out of the bullpen? You lost AJ Minter for the year and you've done nothing to replace him. What is he supposed to do when Kodai Senga goes down, when Tyler McGill, who wasn't even supposed to be in this rotation, nor was Griffin Canning, but they both went down, and you started the year without Sean Manaea and without Frankie Montas? What is Mendoza supposed to do? He can only play the hand that he is dealt. And in my opinion, David Stearns has been way too freak pro-shay. Oh, who gives a shit? How about this? Pro-shitty. That's what he is. Call him pro-shitty because he was shitty today. And he's probably another shitty reliever that the Mets have brought up from their farm system that has failed, just like all the other ones that we have seen for the last decade. Call him pro-shay, pro-she, pro-shitty. That's what I have to say. Hopefully you don't think I'm not mad at you, Red Bear Fox, but he sucks. Anyway, I blame it on David Stearns, guys. I don't know about you. Let's see. Ben Early, ever since giving up that home run to Muncy, Brazoban has completely forgotten how to pitch. That is almost like the exact line of demarcation. You're not wrong, Ben Early. That sounds pretty much exactly where things started going off the rails for Brazoban. If you remember, it was a game-tying homer from Max Muncy in the 9th inning off Brazoban. The Dodgers ended up winning that on the walk-off, where Nimmo got turned around on Freddie Freeman's fly ball in the bottom of the 10th inning. And yeah, pretty much from that point since then, that was about a little under a month ago now, Brazoban has been horrific. Brazoban has just been a mess. Let's see, the kill me, it's not the universe, it's the lack of talent. Yeah, I mean, I think it's both. I mean, I'm placing it more on the lack of talent for this team and lack of execution for sure, but there's some weird things that happen in today's game specifically. So obviously the rain delay being called when it was drizzling while the Mets are in the middle of a rally. Then you have to play with Brett Beatty, which, yeah, don't run on a ball in front of you, but Ke'Bryan Hayes had to charge that one. If he's making the throw to first, Brett Beatty should have been safe easily. Instead, it perfectly caroms to Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who dives to tag him out. Then you have the strike call on Mark Vientos. That should have been ball 4, would have made it first and second for Juan Soto when this was a 3-1 game. There's definitely some stuff in the universe, if you ask me, that is going against the Mets. But I agree, it's more so on the Mets not executing and a lack of talent, like I said before as well. Let's see, Red Bear Fox. Tony, I think Mendoza was almost forced to bring Blackburn back because his bullpen has been brutalized. Yes, that is definitely true. Unfortunately, like I said, this is the hand that Mendoza has been dealt. He has been handed guys like Paul Blackburn, who, you know, of course they bring back in after the rain delay in this game, but, you know, just inadequate talent. And obviously, for the full 162, you need more than just the 26 guys that you begin the season with. Every team is going to go through injuries, but this starting pitching has not been getting the job done lately. They have been getting hurt, of course, as well. They've not been giving them length, and the bullpen has been taxed beyond belief. So I understand why Mendoza, or the thinking behind Mendoza, trying to squeeze even just one more inning out of Blackburn, but it turns into an outright disaster. So I understand the logic behind it, but still, it's not the right call, and it backfires immediately. 5 straight hits to open the second inning. And you know what? The game wasn't even actually lost there, because the bullpen did such a good job at keeping this a close 1-run game for the next 5 innings after that, and this Mets lineup couldn't hit their way out of a paper freaking bag, and against the damn Pittsburgh Pirates. So you could blame Mendoza for that one. You could even blame Blackburn, and I'm pissed about both of those guys and the decision that Mendoza made. But this lineup, again, comes up small and can't deliver to save their lives. Robert Lupinacci, what is up, my man? Teams have scouted the Mets offense. We need hitting coaches that have to teach this team to change their approach. Until that happens, nothing will change. We've talked about it in this stream, man. I think that Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes need to go now. I am sick of them. I've been sick of them. I don't understand the approach. There was a fan on Twitter today that was mocking Eric Chavez, and Chavez took to his actual Instagram account to post it on his story, saying something to the effect of, like, what, you don't think I'm a good hitting coach? Like, you're a joke, haha. Like, dude, he's more worried about what fans are saying about him than actually helping his lineup hit. That is when I realized Eric Chavez needs to go. I've realized this for a while, but that is the final straw, in my opinion. Let's see. Red Bear Fox Mendoza isn't on the hot seat. He's got a garbage team, and they still have one of the best records in baseball. It's not a good, talented lineup right now. It is not a talented roster by any means right now. I mean, after you get through the top 5, let's just call it Nimmo, Lindor, Soto, Alonso, and Jeff McNeil. After that, what are you getting from the rest of this lineup? You get a couple days out of the week, or a couple days every 3 weeks from Brett Beatty, where he's hitting like he is right now. But Tyrone Taylor has not hit this year. Luis Torrens has completely fallen off the face of the earth. Francisco Alvarez was a disaster before getting sent to AAA. Mark Vientos has been absolutely brutal. Ronnie Mauricio only recently started to hit, and he only does it half the time because it's only when he's hitting from the left side of the plate. Luis Angel Acuna couldn't do jack crap for this team before getting sent down to AAA. You had a guy that was playing in the Korean baseball organization last year in Jared Young who couldn't cut it here and is back in AAA. So yeah, this lineup, despite being a $300 million payroll, looks like trash right now. Absolutely unacceptable. Jose Lopez Moya, well, this is the new MO by the Mets. Mendoza finally showing some guts. I mean, yeah, I'm happy to see that Mendy went out there and argued, and he had a case. That was a horrible call. I'm not saying the Mets lost because of that bad call on Vientos. That should have been ball 4, but it sets up first and second with Juan Soto up, and the Mets trailing 3-1. And then the very next half inning, Mets pitcher Waddell doesn't get the call against the Pirates. That is what set Mendy off. So I think Mendoza was totally right to do it. He goes out, he gets his money worth. You're hoping that maybe it'll inspire this Mets team to come through with a win today. Instead, they get laughed out of the building in Pittsburgh by the last place freaking Pirates. Let's see. Red Bear Fox says, I'm not panicked. The Mets are doing what I expect them to do every night. It's frustrating when Lindor continues to choke and the top 4 through 5 struggle. Otherwise, I expect them to suck. Oh my God, guys, this sucks. It really does. Jose Lopez Moya, the Mets had left 9 runners on base by the 7th inning, and that doesn't get you wins. Nope, that has been the case all season for the Mets, not hitting with runners in scoring position and leaving men on base. It is the 2 anecdotes of the 2025 Mets so far. But we're all saying that the Mets need an ace. Yeah, that's what they need at the deadline. They definitely don't need any hitters or to fire their hitting coach. No, they need an ace, frontline starting pitcher. That will fix everything. A guy that plays once every 5 days is what will fix the Mets. No, it is a freaking hitter in this lineup, and it is firing that embarrassment of a hitting coach, Eric Chavez, and his little partner, Jeremy Barnes, whatever the hell his name is. I don't even care. What a friggin' joke. Let's see. Red Bear Fox says, no, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Stanley Babbage, Montas needs to pitch well, and the rest of the bull. Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. The Mets need to win tomorrow. If the Mets get swept by the Pirates, like, Jesus, this is even worse than we thought. If the Mets, I can't believe we're talking here that the Mets have lost 2 out of 3 already to the Pirates. They might lose all 3. I mean, this is just crazy, man. This is just insane. I'm beside myself. Let's see. Red Bear Fox says, we are talking about the terrible 3-0 strike call on Vientos, but the next pitch was 3 feet outside and Vientos swung and missed. That is a great point, Red Bear Fox. Thank you for bringing that up. Lost in all of my hysteria here. Yeah, how lost Vientos has looked this year. And you thought maybe that going down to AAA after his injury would maybe like fix him a little bit. He even talked about being humbled before his start yesterday, returning to the big league roster, saying, look, it just doesn't come that easy. Maybe I kind of thought it would entering this year after having so much success in 2024. Vientos is lost at the plate. So yes, as Red Bear Fox points out, the Mets or Vientos should have drawn ball 4 and a walk, but the very next pitch was a slider that, my goodness, was 2 feet into the left-handed batter's box that he goes on and chases. So 100% really, really good point there, Red Bear Fox. Thank you for reminding me of that. Guys, if you are just tuning in, be sure to leave this video a like. Really goes a long way toward helping the channel. I appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already. I do daily Mets recaps after every single Mets game and daily content and a whole lot more. If you guys want to be a part of the show right now, you can call in live to my Discord. Link to that is in the description below. So appreciate you guys all being here and leaving likes on the stream. Really helps the channel out, gets more Mets fans in here. We got some great ones in here today, some of the usuals and some new people, which is really fun to see you guys tuning in despite the Mets getting embarrassed once again by the Pittsburgh Pirates by a final score of 9-2. They have been outscored 18-3 in these first 2 games. The Mets go 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position today. They leave 8 men on base. Brett Beatty gets ran off the bases. They go into a rain delay with a rally, only for Vientos to return for a 3-pitch strikeout after 90 minutes of wetness. It has just been a complete shitstorm for the Mets. A complete, absolute shitstorm for the Mets. That nightmare will not end. Let's see. Logged Off Gaming. Mookie Wilson or Mike Piazza as hitting coach? LOL. I mean, hell, man, why not? I don't even care, man. You can make my dog Mookie the hitting coach, and I think he would be better than whatever Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes do. Fast Fun Poker Jamie. Braves with a grand slam. All right. Well, the Braves were up 2-0. Phillies made it 2-1, and apparently they've hit a grand slam, so that should make it 6-1 Braves. So the good news, the Mets will not fall any further behind the Phillies in the National League East standings for first place today. The bad news, the Braves will gain a game on the Mets today. So not even going to think about the Braves and them in third place, thinking only about first place. But my goodness, if the Mets don't start winning games themselves, especially against teams like the frickin' Pirates, it won't matter what other teams are doing. Let's see. Jose Lopez Moya says they need to get a good starter, a good reliever, and a bat like Jarren Duran. Dude, I hear ya, but I'm sorry. I am not going to tolerate it anymore. Mets fans asking for Jarren Duran. He has a 705 OPS this year. We have that already. We have probably 3 guys in this lineup already with 700 or sub 700 OPSs. I get it. He was looking like one of the best center fielders in all of baseball the last 2 years, but he's not doing it this year. And I don't know if I'm willing to trade the prospects that it would require to bring Duran in. I mean, if he was having the type of year that he was the last 2 seasons with Boston right now, yes. But right now, what we've seen out of Jarren Duran is essentially what you're getting out of Tyrone Taylor, but with a couple more home runs. So I just don't know if I'm willing to do that. Flip side of all that is because Duran has 2 more years of control after this year, he's going to command a lot more prospects in a trade with Boston. And clearly, the Mets don't know how to develop prospects, because can you name anybody that's contributing to this team on a nightly basis that has come up recently? I'll wait. Because they haven't produced a major league position player since Pete Alonso in 2019. That is not a lie. Tell me the lie in that statement. Pete Alonso came up in 2019. Who is the next position player that the Mets have developed and is a contributor at the big league level on an everyday basis? I'll wait. Oh, it's no one. The one guy would be a guy who's playing for the Cubs right now because we traded him for 2 months of Javi Baez in Pete Crow Armstrong. Other than that, the Mets haven't developed a freaking position player since 2019 in Pete Alonso. Before that, the year before, it was Jeff McNeil, whatever he is at this point, I don't know. But the Mets just have not developed anybody in their farm system into true big leaguers, it seems, in a long time. And maybe it's not such a bad idea to sell off on these other guys for a guy like Jarren Duran. Let's see. Explosive diarrhea. Mets need too much at the deadline. I doubt we solve every issue. Well, the truth is they need to solve some of them internally. Some of these guys need to start playing closer to the back of their baseball card. They need to start performing better. Some of these guys from the minors down in the farm system need to debut and have big impressions. And then you hope that with a trade or two, you can get this roster back. You're going to get some guys back healthy with Jesse Winker. I don't know what Jose Siri is going to be if he ever does return to this team. And you're going to hopefully get Sean Manaea back next week. And hopefully Kodai Senga the week or two after that. And then maybe things start to turn a little bit. But they definitely need a reliever or two, because it cannot be the same 2 guys out of the bullpen every single night, because that is when they start looking like Oscar Brazaban has lately, because his arm is just probably absolutely dead. They have ran him into the ground, and they have nothing to show for it now at this point. Let's see. Stanley Babbage, Keith Hernandez as hitting coach. I don't think Keith would ever do that. Keith barely wants to travel from the Hamptons to Queens for his SMY gig. I don't think Keith Hernandez wants to be flying all across the country every single week, but that would be hilarious to see Keith as their hitting coach. Logged Off Gaming, Keith won't leave his, there you go. Keith won't leave his cushy job 100%. Red Bear Fox, the Mets need to get a quality bat for at least the catching, center field, and third base positions. I mean, guys, I'm beating a dead horse, but like I've said, I think they should go for Eugenio Suarez, put him at third base. You put Vientos, give him a chance at DH. If he doesn't come through, then so be it. You either put him back in AAA for the rest of the year, or you, put him on the bench and hope that he can hit against lefties, basically take over Marte's role as the DH against left-handed pitching. But Eugenio Suarez, I think, is a big move. You get a third baseman, still plays pretty quality defense over there. He's a guy that's leading the NL in homers, or in the top 3, somewhere around 25, 26, having a career season. Yeah, he's 34 years old, but he's a rental. So I think that's a huge, huge trade the Mets should make that would vastly improve this roster. Let's see. Jose Lopez Moya, 99. The Mets were doing bad. They fired all the coaches with the exception of Bobby Valentine, and they made the playoffs. That's right. Valentine Day Massacre, where they fired all of his staff out from underneath him. That might be the move. I mean, obviously, you're not going to fire Jeremy Hefner. He's really got no wrongdoing in this. They're just giving him horrible pitchers to work with. So Jeremy Hefner and the pitching, coaches are not going anywhere. The pitching lab, I think, is fine. I think that they just don't have great pitchers to work with at the moment. But Jeremy Barnes, Eric Chavez, goodbye, see ya. They got to go. So if that's what it takes, then yeah, that's what they should do. And I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Cohen actually goes to David Stearns, or even just outright himself decides to fire Chavez and Barnes and shake things up, because clearly things are not working for this lineup. Let's see. Danny, Jose Reyes as hitting coach. Oh man. I don't know. Jose is doing the post-game show on SMY nowadays. You can barely understand him. It's just like when he used to do his player interviews. He talked so fast. But I don't know. We always talk about former players, former Mets coming back to be the hitting coach. It seems like it's usually the guys that were not great hitters that make good hitting coaches. And I know that sounds weird, but I mean, think about it. Like, can you name any big-time players that are hitting coaches around the league right now? Like, it's usually like these hitting nerds with a baseball background, kind of like Kevin Long, who was their hitting coach in 2015. He had been with the Nationals. He's been with the Phillies now a number of years. So it's usually not like a star former player as a hitting coach. But honestly, man, like I said, I'd put my own dog Mookie as the hitting coach for this Mets team right now. And I think the Mets would perform better than what they're getting from Eric Chavez and Jeremy Barnes. Robert Lupinacci, who would want to come here offense-wise? What offensive players would want to come here? These hitting coaches will ruin them. Yeah, I mean, look, the good hitters probably barely need hitting coaches nowadays, considering they're just watching iPads of their previous at-bat within 10 seconds in the dugout. So I don't know how much hitting coaches even do, but if he's instilling any type of philosophy or mindset for this team, especially with runners in scoring position where the Mets have struggled all season long, it's not working. And this is, again, just being redundant, but Eric Chavez and Barnes have clearly not put this lineup in a position to succeed. It's partly on the hitters. I'd say more than partly, probably more than 50% on the players themselves not executing, but I absolutely believe that it has to do with the approach that these guys have developed in them from Barnes and from Chavez. Let's see. Logged Off Gaming. Soto uses his own hitting coach. He doesn't even listen to Chavez. Could you imagine Juan Soto trying to get advice from Eric Chavez on hitting? Like, yeah, okay, I'm sure that's what he's doing. Yeah, a lot of players do have personal hitting coaches. Pete Alonso does. Aaron Judge does. This is nothing strange or abnormal, but I can't imagine these guys are actually going to Chavez and seeking advice from him. I'm sorry. I just don't believe it. Oh my God, I can't pop my ears. I've been screaming for an hour here. Guys, sound off in the chat. How you feeling? No one wants to call into Discord. What the hell? I wanted to have some live guests on here so we could just rant about the Mets together. Otherwise, I look like just a lunatic on here. No, I hope you guys do call in the future. It's fine if you don't want to today, but I do hope you guys will call into the show here in the future on Discord. If you don't have Discord, it's super easy to set up. You just put your phone number in. That link takes you right to this channel so you could get pumped into the show immediately. Let's see. Danny, guys who understand struggling is what helps out. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying about Chavez. Jose Lopez Moya, no more reclamation projects by cheapskate Stearns, please, unless he's getting bonus money on his contract by doing this. Look, guys, I got some news for you, and I can't prove this, but I don't think David Stearns wanted to sign Juan Soto to the contract that he did. I am almost 100% convinced that David Stearns would not on his own accord have signed Juan Soto to the $760 million contract that he signed him to. I think that Steve Cohen was heavily involved. This was his white whale, his Moby Dick, if you will, and he signed Juan Soto almost himself. And I think that he got hamstringed, hands tied after that, because Cohen probably put a limit on where he wanted to go over the luxury tax. And so Stearns couldn't make other additions to improve this lineup. I just personally feel that at a $55 million average annual value, that David Stearns would have found another way to spread that out over 2 or 3 good hitters to improve this lineup if he had his druthers. So that's just my opinion. I'm not saying there's drama, and I am happy that Juan Soto is here, but I also believe that Steve Cohen is the one that wanted to sign him. It went way past what David Stearns would have ever been willing to offer him. And then when he went to that limit, he also had a limit on where he could go past the luxury tax, where the Mets would be getting charged 2 times the price of any future free agent dollars spent. So that is probably why we are in the situation we are in. Yes, Juan Soto has been fantastic, really turned it on here this month, but I do believe that is why the rest of this lineup has been as porous as it has been. So Danny says Reyes would be fun in my opinion, keep them loose. Could you imagine Reyes doing the dances in the dugout like he used to 2006? That would be sick. I would love that. Thank you for subscribing. I didn't catch who that was, but I just heard the little Let's Go Mets jingle, so appreciate whoever just subscribed to the channel. Daily Mets content here, guys. Post-game recap after every single game. Unfortunately, 12 of the last 15 days, it has been a really crappy, unhappy Tony doing these post-game streams as the Mets continue to struggle. Stanley Babbage says, Two Cats, what's up, man? I didn't see you in here. Welcome. Two Cats says the team will be out of the playoffs real soon. Too many good NL teams on the Brewers, Cards, Reds, Padres, Giants, D-backs, Braves that will catch up and bypass soon enough. I am not buying that on the D-backs, on the Reds, on the Cardinals, or the Brewers. I will say the Braves have a chance because they're in our division. We still have head-to-head matchups. Easy chance for them to make up ground on us. The Giants are good, but look, I mean, I don't think they're going to fight for the first wild card spot. They're going to beat up on each other in the National League West. And the Padres, same situation. I think the D-backs are done. I think they're selling. They lost Corbin Burns for the year. They lost their closer for the year. Corbin Carroll is on the DL now. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to make a run. Forget about the Cardinals. Forget about the Reds. So I ain't worried. The Brewers, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the Brewers. I think they're still a talented team. Two Cats says, baby Mets absolutely blow. The baby Mets have crapped themselves over and over this year. I mean, they just suck. All 5 of the baby Mets. I don't even like calling them that because it's like an endearing term. No, this idiot Mets. Stanley Babbage, Stearns needs to stop signing bargain basement deals. Yeah, well, now it's time to, I think, start making some big deals. Explosive diarrhea. I don't think Cohen got us Pete as well. Or you think he got us Pete as well? Yes, that one definitely we know was probably Steve Cohen. We know Soto and Boris said to Steve Cohen in their final meeting before signing with the Mets was that, well, we had Aaron Judge hitting behind Soto with the Yankees last year. Who's going to hit behind me? Because at that point, the Mets had not signed Pete Alonso, and they were dragging out the negotiations with him. That is when Cohen and Stearns went to Tampa to talk to Pete Alonso and push that deal over the finish line. So I do believe Steve Cohen was heavily involved in both signing Soto and Pete Alonso. If it were up to Stearns, I think he would have spread the money a completely different way than he did. And again, Pete and Soto have carried this team offensively, clearly the 2 best hitters in this lineup, but they maybe had a limit over that luxury tax threshold that Cohen did not want to go over. And that is why the bottom of this lineup is as horrible as it has been this year. And when you end up having the inevitable slumps that every baseball player will go through, Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, Soto, none of them are immune to it. When 1 or 2 of those guys are slumping, there's nobody there to pick them up in the 5 through 9 spots. So it sucks. It really does. Jose Lopez Moya says Stearns would not have signed either Soto or Alonso. There you go. Goes to Maidens Park. Tony, this is why I hate meddling owners. Cohen should have let Stearns do his thing. I mean, I agree, man. I don't like to see a meddling owner either. It is what killed the Knicks for all those years with Jimmy Dolan. It is what killed him with the Rangers. And then obviously the Wilpons were a complete disaster. I mean, at least in the case of Steve Cohen, the meddling is spending money. So I appreciate that as opposed to the other stuff that those guys, the Wilpons and Dolan, did over all of those years. But yeah, man, I think that Stearns would have taken a much different approach. I mean, I love Juan Soto. I'm glad he's here. I don't think he's worth $760 million over 15 years. And I think that David Stearns would have found other ways to fill out a more complete lineup than just throwing all of that money at Soto. Again, don't take it out of context. I am glad Soto's here. I think he is part of the solution, not the problem, of course. Look at his numbers, but the bottom of this order is sagging because they heavily invested so much in the top of the order. Logged Off Gaming, I'd rather have Bader, Quintana, and Jose back over Soto, even Severino. Severino's having a terrible year for the Athletics, but I hear you, man. I would have loved to have Bader back. Obviously, the Jose Siri trade has completely been a flop. Has barely played for the team, and when he was, I think he was hitting under 100. Not even just the Mendoza line. I think Jose Siri was hitting below 100 points for his batting average this year. So obviously that has not been good. Wish we could have kept Bader. Wish we could have kept Jose Iglesias. David Stearns came into this season thinking that one of Luis Angel Acuna, Brett Beatty, or Ronnie Mauricio would step into the second base position. He thought that Mark Vientos was a legit third baseman, cornerstone of the future, and so far they have all flopped. That without even mentioning Francisco Alvarez, who of course was a dumpster fire so far this year. So Logged Off Gaming, Ghost of Maidens Park, I also blamed Cohen for this over Stearns. You blame this on Cohen, Steve Cohen, more than you're blaming David Stearns. Okay. I mean, look, I really do believe that's the case. I think that Steve Cohen wanted Soto. He wanted to throw his weight around in Major League Baseball. He let Aaron Judge play out his free agency. Didn't want that crosstown whole, dynamic between the Yankees happening. But when Soto became a free agent, it was all bets are off, game on. And he wanted to do it. It's a landmark deal. Soto's obviously a talent. Don't get me wrong. But I think that he also had a limit on how far he was willing to go over the luxury tax, where they would start getting charged double the amount of money that they are spending on every free agent after that. And that is why we have an incomplete lineup the way we do with this Mets team right now. Let's see. Guys, I'm sorry. I keep losing my place in the chat. Thank you all for tuning in, guys. Be sure to leave a like if you have not already. Really appreciate that. Daily Mets recap after every single Mets game and more content here on my channel. You can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Links to all those are in the description below. I'll say it again, even though no one's calling in. If you want to call in and be a live part of the show right now, you can do that. Go to the Discord. That is in the link down in the description below of this video right now. If you call in, say anything you want about the Mets, keep it PG-13, please. Appreciate that. Let's see. Ghost of Maidens Park says Cohen was going to jump and get Correa when Epler didn't want him, and as much as I wanted Correa, we dodged a bullet. My goodness, yeah, I just talked about that on Thursday night. Could you imagine if Carlos Correa did end up passing his physical with the Mets after they tried to steal him in the middle of the night from San Francisco? How bad that would be. There would be no Juan Soto here right now. It'd be a $350 million horrific signing, still stuck with Correa for like 6 more years after this one. So thank goodness his ankle was as balky as it was. You're right on that one, Ghost of Maidens Park. Jose Lopez Moya, no player whatsoever is worth $765 million, and the Siri trade was a silly trade. I mean, I like the Siri trade when they made it. Eric Ortze for Jose Siri. You thought Siri would do exactly what Bader did, elite defense in center field, elite speed, and he runs into a few. Could be a 15 home run bat, maybe even more. Yeah, it's gonna hit below the Mendoza line or right around it. So on paper, it made a lot of sense. In reality, it's been a shit show. Siri has barely played. When he did, he sucked. And Eric Ortsay has been a great reliever for Tampa Bay this year, even shut down the Mets themselves in that series at Citi Field 2 weeks ago. So, yep, you're on point with that one, Jose. Explosive Diarrhea logged. We need Hawk Tua. Oh my God, bring Hawk Tua girl back. She completely disappeared off the face of the earth. If you guys haven't caught that, she did a Hawk Tua coin. And apparently cheated a lot of people out of some serious cash, and she went missing off the face of the planet after that. The SEC reviewed it. They said there was no wrongdoing or knowing on her end, so she was excused from the lawsuit. But yeah, you've not heard anything from Hawk Tua girl since then. So I don't know if she's available for a first pitch. Seymour Wiener passed away earlier this month, so Seymour is gone. RIP to a veteran of this country. I don't know where Grimace is or if he's available, but he is our last hope at this point, right? Let's see. Stanley Babbage. When does Alvarez return? I don't know, man. I mean, he hit a bomb today, 450 something feet to left field. So that was good to see. But man, right when we were ready to just hand the reins over to Luis Torrens, he has gone ice cold. He was 0 for his last 13 before his first at bat today, where he got a base hit. So that was nice to see. But overall, Luis Torrens has been bad. So I don't know what the plan is with Francisco Alvarez, if they're going to give him another 2 weeks, if they're going to give him through the end of the All-Star break and then give him a shot again. But I mean, hopefully when he does return, Alvarez looks closer to that former top prospect and not what we've seen recently from him behind the plate. Jimmy James C. Soto not being a good fielder makes that insane contract not worth it if it's going to swallow the entire salary. Yeah, I mean, look, the Mets get some money off the books after this year, which is good. But at the end of the day, you know, it shouldn't be this hard to field a competitive team when you consider some of the top prospects the Mets had in this system, and just none of them have panned out. None of them have panned out. If you were getting what you got from Vientos last year, if Beatty ever even could just be a bench guy that could hit a little bit, then maybe we're looking at a different team. If Francisco Alvarez wasn't hitting at a Mendoza line like he was, then maybe it'd be a different lineup. But unfortunately, it's a combination of spending a lot of money on a top-heavy lineup, not getting development out of the prospects, and it's all blowing up in the Mets' face right now. Explosive Diarrhea. I agree with Jose. I liked the series signing, though. I didn't like the Minter signing. Minter was damaged goods in the offseason. I mean, dude, like I said before, you could just see these things happening if you're a Mets fan. So when Vientos struck out after they resumed play from the rain delay, I was thinking this is not going to be the Mets' day. I just got a gut feeling about it. It was the same thing with AJ Minter. Despite pitching as well as he did for the first month of this year, him being a former Brave, torturing us for all of those seasons with Atlanta, to see him in a Mets uniform just never felt right. And sure enough, injured for the year, torn lat, needs surgery. So yeah, man, not a surprise there, unfortunately. D-Rel says, Minter was a great sign, but what are y'all talking about? Yeah, I mean, I was really happy about the Minter signing, but you know, it obviously came with some caution behind it with some of the injuries that he had dealt with in Atlanta. He had hip issues, and if you remember this spring, he had a very delayed, onboarding, whatever you want to call it, you know, before ramping up. So, and that was because of the hip. And then it turns out to be the lat that does him in for the season. So, Jose Lopez, boy, I hope that cheapskate Stearns doesn't waste the coming trade deadline like he did the last one. Get quite a few holes to fill, no doubt about it. We'll see how he does, man. We'll see what he ends up doing. Maybe he doesn't believe this is a playoff worthy, World Series worthy team, worthy of investing in any further. I don't know. That could be the case. Lostas, L-O-S-T-A-J, Lostas. They need to start giving full-time starter a day off more often. I don't know exactly what that means, but Red Bear Fox Mendoza said they kept Blackburn throwing during the rain delay, so they felt they could get 35 to 40 pitches from him once the game started back up. Ron Darling said it best. It's not even about the physical aspect of not pitching for 90 minutes. You know, you can be in the underbelly of the stadium, staying loose, stretching, throwing, doing everything you can to try to replicate a real situation. But when you get on the mound of a big league field, it is just a complete different ballgame. And Ron Darling said it himself during the broadcast. Starters are creatures of habit. And when they get thrown out of that loop, it is very difficult to get them back on track. And that is exactly what happened with Paul Blackburn today. Again, I understand the logic behind it. Your bullpen has been taxed. You haven't been getting any length out of your starting pitchers lately. I get why Mendoza tried to squeeze what he could out of Blackburn, but Blackburn already with a very cautionary resume with how he's been pitching lately, and the Mets have it all just completely blow up right in front of them. Guys, I think that is going to do it. I think I got my therapy for the day. I don't want to think or talk about the Mets for the next 16 hours because guess what? We're doing it again tomorrow. Mets have their series finale with Pittsburgh as they look to salvage that and not get swept by the Pirates, which would just be absolutely embarrassing. So let's take a look real quick before we sign off for the night. As we take a look at the pitching matchup for tomorrow, if MLB.com would cooperate, that would be really, really helpful. Somewhere in here, right? Maybe? No? I can't. Every time I try to do this with you guys, I swear, every freaking time I try to do anything on MLB.com, it just doesn't want to make it easy. So it is Frankie Montas tomorrow. Of course, we know he had a really nice debut, 5 innings of scoreless ball against the Braves his first time out, just 3 hits. So hopefully that was not fool's gold. Hopefully Frankie Montas with his new arm angle, which if you didn't notice, he's pitching a little more over the top now than he has previously. So maybe the Mets pitching lab unlocked a little something in him. We'll see. It's only one start, so don't want to get ahead of ourselves. And meanwhile, on the mound for the Pirates is Mike Burrows. Burrows with a 4.45 ERA over 7 starts this year and 30 1/3 innings pitched. Righty, so we'll see what the lineup looks like tomorrow. Not sure if we're going to see Mark Vientos given how he has looked here in his place. Pittsburgh Pirates. But guys, we will see how it goes. We will have another post-game recap immediately after that one as well. But that is going to do it for today. So let me say my thank yous really quick. Explosive Diarrhea, Ray, 2 Cats, Absol. Thank you to Don Juan Cito 2030. Thank you to The Kill Me. Thank you to Ray. Thank you to Fast Fun Poker Jamie. Thank you to Logged Off Gaming. Thank you to Stanley Babbage. Thank you to Earl Daly. Thank you to Steve Sorensen for the super chat. $2. I appreciate that, man. Thank you to D-Rels. Thank you to, who else do we got here? I know I've said all of you so far. Thank you to Jimmy James C. Thank you to Ardaman Singh. Thank you to Ghost of Maidens Park. Thank you to Jose Lopez Moya. And who else am I missing? That might be it. I think we got everybody. Maybe just double check. There were a lot of comments from you guys. Damn. Thank you to Stanley Babbage if I didn't say that. Thank you to Ben Early, to Robert Lupinacci. Thank you to, I think that's just about everybody. Danny and 2 Cats and Lostas. And I think that's everybody. Okay, guys. Thank you to everybody. Even if you didn't comment, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it, guys. You have no idea how much it helps the stream, bringing more Mets fans in here to continue watching as well. So thank you to you all. I really do appreciate it. Tomorrow's a new day. Hopefully the Mets can turn it around then. But until then, I'm Tony Metro. Stay true to the orange and blue.